The Phantom Between Us. A story about love, illusion, and awakening. There's a strange thing that happens in every relationship. We stop seeing the person in front of us and start seeing the story we've built about them. You think you're arguing with your partner, but you're not. You're arguing with a phantom, a version of them that lives inside your mind. It's made from old hurts, from words that cut too deep, from the things they didn't say but you still remember. And before you know it, you're no longer speaking to the living person standing before you. You're fighting a ghost made of memory and fear. That ghost always wins, because it isn't real. The birth of the phantom, it begins innocently. A tone of voice, a sigh, a small misunderstanding. But instead of seeing it as it is, the mind adds meaning. It whispers, "They don't care. They're pulling away. They always do this." The mind connects dots that were never meant to be connected. It builds stories out of shadows. And soon, your partner isn't your partner anymore. They're the projection of every wound you've ever carried. Every argument becomes a battle for survival, not because of what's happening now, but because of what it represents to your pain, the energy that feeds on pain. There's something ancient inside all of us, an energy that feeds on conflict. It loves tension, drama, misunderstanding. It feeds on being right. When it takes over, you feel justified. Your anger feels noble, your words feel true. And yet afterward, you feel hollow. That's how you know it wasn't you speaking. It was the pain speaking through you. This pain doesn't just live in you, it lives in your partner too. When yours awakens, it reaches for theirs. And suddenly, two people who love each other become two storms colliding, each feeding the other's fire, each convinced they are the victim. The loop, every couple knows the pattern. It starts small, then the words sharpen. Then comes the silence, the distance, the walls. You promise yourself it won't happen again. But next time it does, faster, stronger, as if the argument was waiting for its cue because it was. You're not reacting to this moment, you're replaying an old one. The mind is just pulling from the archives. The fight you think you're having now is really a performance you've rehearsed hundreds of times. And as long as you believe your reactions are new, the pattern keeps winning. The invisible script. You could almost write the script yourself. The trigger, the accusation, the defense, the explosion, the withdrawal. Then the quiet guilt that follows. You both know your lines by heart, you even know how it ends. But still you perform it. Why? Because the pain inside you craves repetition. It wants to feel something familiar, even if it hurts. Every time the same argument plays out, you strengthen the pathway in your brain that says, "This is who we are. This is what love feels like." But love is not the pattern. Love is what remains when the pattern ends. The moment of choice. Between the trigger and your reaction, there is always a small pause, a space so brief it's almost invisible. That's where your freedom lives. You can't control the trigger, and you can't erase your conditioning overnight. But you can notice the moment your body tenses, the moment your breath tightens, the moment the old movie starts playing again. If you can see it before it takes over, you can choose differently. That's the beginning of real change. Not promising to be better tomorrow, but waking up in the moment where the story begins to repeat. The weight of memory. We don't see people as they are. We see them as we remember them. Every look, every tone, every gesture, filtered through a lifetime of meaning. Your partner says something simple, but you don't hear their words, you hear your history. And so, you're never truly meeting them. You're meeting the version of them that your mind has created. That's why love starts to feel heavy over time. Not because the love is brutal, but because it's buried under the story. Meeting without history. To truly see someone, you have to meet them without history. That means putting down the idea of who you think they are. It means seeing their face as if for the first time, hearing their voice without translating it through your fears, feeling their presence without measuring it against your expectations. for even 30 seconds. If you can meet them without the past, something sacred happens. The distance dissolves, the stories quiet down, and in their place, a silence appears. That silence isn't empty, it's full. It's the space where love lives. The pain body awakens. When you've carried pain for too long, it begins to want company. It waits for the right moment, a word, a mistake, a forgotten text, and suddenly it rises to the surface, hungry to be fed. It uses your thoughts like weapons. It whispers, "You're not respected. You're not seen. You are not loved." And because it speaks in your own voice, you believe it. You lash out not to hurt but to be heard. But what you're really trying to do is feel alive again, because pain has convinced you that it's the only seeing the possession. You can recognize the pain body when it takes over someone you love. Their eyes change, their tone sharpens. They say things that don't match their heart. That's not them. It's the pain speaking. And the greatest mistake you can make in that moment is to argue with the pain. Because pain doesn't want understanding, it wants reaction. It feeds on energy. Don't feed it, don't fight it. Stay still. Set a boundary if you must. But stay in awareness. Your calm presence is the silence that starves the pain. Recognizing it in yourself. When it takes you, it feels absolute. Everything becomes black and white, always. Never right, wrong, but your body knows before your mind does. A tightening in the chest, hate in the gut, a familiar surge of energy rising like a tide. That's the warning. That's the moment you can choose presence instead of possession. You don't have to suppress the feeling. Just watch it, feel, let it pass through without acting it out. The pain wants your reaction. Awareness takes away its power when awareness returns. When awareness returns, something miraculous happens. The energy that once became anger turns into stillness. The tension becomes tenderness, the chaos becomes clarity. You look at your partner again, and for a moment, you actually see them. Not the story, not the ghost, just them here now alive, and you realize you were never fighting them at all. You were fighting your own reflection, the story your mind created to protect itself. The moment you see this clearly, the argument ends. Not because one of you won, but because the illusion lost its grip. The quiet. Beyond the storm, awakening in love doesn't mean you'll never argue again. It means the arguments no longer own you. You begin to notice the storm rising, but you remember you are not the storm. You are the sky behind it. When presence returns, love returns. And in that stillness you finally see each other, not as ghosts from the past, but as souls meeting in this single precious moment we call now.